Breaking tonight, Secretary of State John Kerry facing major backlash for his Wednesday speech, this time from the British Prime Minister. The UK's Theresa May shared harsh words for Kerry last night through a spokesperson, demonstrating support for Israelis some are now calling stronger than America's. May reportedly believes, "We do not believe that it is appropriate to attack the composition of the democratically elected government of an ally. In particular, the people of Israel deserve to live free from the threat of terrorism, with which they have had to cope for too long." Joining me now is Family Research Council President Tony Perkins. Good to see you tonight, sir.
Good evening, Sandra. How are you?
So first off, just explain to us, why is our relationship with Israel so important?
Well, it's important to us as a nation. It's important to us as evangelicals in this country. Obviously, we just celebrated the birth of Jesus Christ, who grew up there in Jerusalem, outside of Jerusalem in Bethlehem, just a drive away from there. But from a standpoint of Americans, it's important that we stand. I think we have a moral obligation to stand with this tiny little country. It's kind of like an island of freedom and democracy in a sea of despotism and despair. And increasingly, genocide is becoming a problem in that region of the world because of the failed foreign policy of John Kerry and Barack Obama. So we have an obligation, a geopolitical obligation. They're the only real strong ally. We've got others in the area we're working with. Jordan's good, Egypt is coming along, but none are like Israel.
So what kind of damage was done by abstaining from that vote last Friday? And furthermore, this speech that we had just heard from the Secretary of State, John Kerry.
Well, I mean, this is John Kerry and Barack Obama putting the icing on their half-baked, failed cake of foreign policy that has just been a disaster in the Middle East in the last 8 years. Look, there's no question. This is a setback. The Trump administration coming in is going to have to move quickly to work to get the UN to rescind this. It doesn't have a lot of teeth, but it does stigmatize.
So what does that look like, though,
Israel.
Tony? I mean, what kind of confidence do you have that that's going to take place? And what does the relationship look like under the new administration?
I think we've already seen it's very strong, even in the tweeting that has gone back and forth between the Prime Minister and Donald Trump. Look, I think they will move quickly. I think they'll put the squeeze on the UN. The UN has to reverse this. Look, and I think the American people need to understand, when we're talking about these settlements, these are not tents put up in the backyards of Palestinians. These are thriving communities. I've been there many times to places like Ariel, where you have a university, you have a medical center, you have an industrial plex where Palestinians are actually, they're working alongside Arabs and Jews, and they have a high standard of living. The people there are actually working out the peace process. It's working. If the politicians in the UN will stay out. Are there problems? Yes. But for the UN to do what it did, and for John Kerry to make these statements on his way out the door, is a major setback, I believe, to the peace process.
But yet you're still hearing from the Obama administration that Obama's government is the greatest friend to Israel, says Secretary of State John Kerry. You clearly don't see it that way.
Well, I would just say this, using a biblical analogy from the land of the Bible, is that there is no fruit to suggest that that is the case.
Wow. All right. Tony Perkins, we'll leave it there. Thanks for being here tonight.
All right, Sandra, have a good evening.